Welcome back to KHTS Radio. My name is Jade Aubuchon, KHTS co-news director, and I'm here continuing a series of interviews with our local school board and water district candidates. I'm here at this moment with Brian Walters, who is running for re-election to the Newhall School District. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you today, Jane?
I'm doing great. It is a
Terrific.
beautiful day out. It is a little bit chilly, but it is very nice.
It is. It's nice to have the cool fall weather kind of coming in for us finally.
Absolutely. Why don't we go ahead and tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Brian Walters, as Jane just mentioned. I've been serving on the Newhall School District Governing Board for 13 years. I'm the immediate past president of the board. I have 5 children. Been in the Valley for 19 years. My oldest 2 have graduated out of the Hart District. I have a junior at West Ranch, and then I have a 3rd grader and a 1st grader. So I'm here for the long haul.
Yeah, you've got your family all involved. You're not a newcomer to this scene.
Right.
Yeah. So we are doing the same series of questions that we're doing with all of our elementary school board candidates. You ready to go into them?
I am. Let's do it.
All right. As with all of these questions, I'll be giving you a 2-minute time period in order to answer. Here we go. Question number 1. What makes you think you are best qualified for the job?
I think right now the most important thing that we need is experience and stability. I've been doing this for 13 years. I also am an attorney at Poole Shaffrey. I've got a master's in public administration in addition to my Juris Doctorate. I have a political science undergrad. All of that is public policy that I've really come to try to hone. I think if you talk to my fellow board members, I'm a very creative problem solver, but I'm also quite transparent. And really what the district needs is someone who has that stability, especially in times where so much is changing. It's about having somebody who knows what the job's about, who knows their role in the job, who understands what the needs are of the district and can attack them and has a proven track record of success. I'm really proud of what we've done. In the last 13 years while I've been on the board, in the last couple of years actually, Newhall School District was named in a Stanford research study as the #1 school district in California. #1. So that didn't come just by me by any means. We have amazing staff, teachers, family supporting us, but the reality is that leadership that I provided at the top helped us to propel that to where we can reach new heights. I mean, it's a first. As much as Newhall has this history of great success and stability, it's become known as the emblem of excellence. I'm proud that I've been able to defend all things good in the Newhall School District and really help move that forward. And as we transition, that's going to continue to be a need to have that stability. We have a board member, Donna Rose, who's leaving, who's done on the board, and so we're already have a new board member. We have a new superintendent. So really what I bring to the table, and I've got skin in the game. Like I said, I've got kids for the next 4 years that are going to be elementary, more than 4 years, while this next term comes. And really, the board and our community and our families need somebody who's going to advocate, our teachers as well. Somebody who's going to advocate and put their best interests first and knows what's going on. So that's what I'm here to do. That's what I'm here to continue to do.
Question number 2. What are your district's 3 most pressing issues?
We could probably do a list of 5, 10, but if I'm pressed on the top 3, I think the first one is chronic underfunding. It's actually something that happens all over the state, but Newhall School District is particularly afflicted by it because of the way that it's structured. Prop 98, many might not know, but Prop 98 was to guarantee a certain minimum amount of funding, and that Prop 98 has really been kind of manipulated, and unfortunately, districts are not getting the money that they need. That money is critical because we don't go out and find sponsors outside. We have community partnerships that bring in a little bit of money here and there. Certainly our PTAs and everything really support us, but we deserve and we're entitled to more money than we're getting. And I think that's a huge issue for all districts. And we've really pressed on that one. We actually have legislative advocacy, but that's been a big issue for me because the governor and the legislature will throw some money at us and say, hey, look, if we give you money, but it's still not as much as we're supposed to have. And that allows us to give teachers raises, to give staff raises, to be able to meet the needs of our kids. We've done a very good job of budgeting, but we are really beholden to the legislature to make sure that's taken care of. So that's item 1. Item 2 is that we have, facing the whole state of California, but our district as well, is staffing shortages. We just don't have a lot of people going into education to be able to be teachers or in staff, and we're having a hard time filling some of those positions. If anybody, shout out if somebody wants to be a substitute teacher and has the credentials, we'd love to have you in our district. The reality is that we also have a new superintendent. So we need, like I said earlier, we need that help to be able to transition. So help everybody have that stability, because I have that experience to do it. And then last but not least, I think, is mental health and the learning loss that's happened during the pandemic. We're seeing that acutely, social skills among our youngest kids about how to interact with people. And what I've done is I've brought Care Solace, which we could talk about probably later, but Care Solace is the way to go, and some other mental health things to help out. So, yeah.
Right before time, 1 second left on the clock. Question number 3. The book Life According to Z is in at least one Santa Clarita Elementary School library. It is a story with illustrations about a 7-year-old girl transitioning into a boy. Do you believe it is appropriate to have this book in our schools' libraries?
So this is an interesting question, because I never have seen that book, and I don't think I'm 99% sure it's not in any of our Newhall School District's libraries in our schools. I think the bigger issue is it's going the wrong direction, and what I mean by that is really at the elementary level, we really want to focus on taking care of core needs: reading, writing, science, social skills. We use art, music, we integrate all of that into it. The library books are supposed to be a supplement for those, but really boosting what we're doing and everything else. And our parents and families trust us to be on message and on point, staying on message and on point, that's our core, and really going to the whole child and taking care of their needs rather than bringing in external things really helps us to have been successful as we are. So really the question is, why are we worrying about this? Why are we engaging in books that have a message that's off that center topic? We love exploring imagination, but really one of the things is our parents and our families entrust their children with our district for 6 hours plus a day. And they need to know that we're going to do our best to be able to give them the best education possible. And anything that detracts from that really doesn't belong on it, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what the topic is. And so I think the thing is what we have to do is focus on what it is that we're trying to do, stay on task and on message, and protect the innocence of children in the sense that they need to be able to just focus on what matters at their age, at their things that they're doing. I think in particular, what we need to do is recognize that there's a societal push to make children grow up fast. And I told my recently turned adult children, don't rush. There's a beauty to having the innocence of youth, to be able to enjoy your time and to be able to just focus on friends and family and just things that bring you joy and fun, and as well as getting that core education. So I think the reality is that we just need to stay tight on that focus, and that's what we've done in Newhall.
Question number 4, and then we'll move on to our custom question for you. If we have another major rise in cases for the COVID-19 pandemic, would you shut down our schools again for in-classroom learning?
I was strongly opposed to shutting down in-classroom learning. And at the outset of the pandemic, it was tough because we didn't know a lot. When the governor said we're going to go on a 2-week lockdown, it made perfect sense because we didn't know. As we've gotten more and more information, the science has come out about how COVID or whatever the next variant of the next disease is going to be, because it will be something else. One of the things is that we have to take a measured approach, recognizing that we can't give up the lives of our children in a way that will have long-term harm. And we do believe, we're already seeing, and we're getting reports back from our Director of Student Support Services, that we are seeing some long-term harm from these experiences. I had the experience of having teachers who are my friends. Several of them came to me and talked about how they cried every day while they were in distance learning. They didn't sign up for that. What they signed up for was to be in the classroom with children. And we believe our teachers are so good and our staff are so good, we need as much face time with them as we can possibly get, not on FaceTime, like in person, not on Zoom, but really getting to interact. And by doing that, we help kids connect. I hope one of the lessons we learned is that we need each other. From the COVID-19 pandemic, there was such an epidemic of loneliness. There are the most 5150 holds for children, which is when there's a psychiatric hold that they might harm themselves. They didn't have enough hospital beds in LA County. This is something that we have to address, is that we recognize that health is not just about physical health. It's about mental health. It's about the whole child and the whole person, and families were impacted. So, I've already sent letters when there were there. We were the first district back when I was board president. We were the first district back to in-person instruction safely. We had lots of safety measures in place, and we've had no outbreaks almost no outbreaks during that entire time. I'm really proud of that, and I'm really proud that we've gotten our students back, and it's shown because our students have made a mighty recovery already in that very short time from having been at distance learning.
Just in time. So unfortunately, let's stop that. Unfortunately, your opponent did not turn in a question for you, so we have a question for you to answer.
Shoot, let's go.
So from our understanding, you have a couple of teachers running against you. Is that correct?
Yes, theoretically, yes. I have one teacher running against me. She's a college professor at COC.
Okay.
She teaches a class.
Why do you feel that educators feel they need to be represented on the board?
That is an excellent question. I'm glad you asked. One of the really critical things that I learned very early on as a board member is that if you don't have students, you don't have teachers. We don't have a school district. We don't have anything. So really, if we keep the focus on students, then we do right by everybody. And that's really been the focus of what I've done for the last 13 years. I have several friends that are teachers. I have teachers that have their campaign signs in their yard for me. I got a letter from, even though NTA chose not to endorse me because I'm very transparent, and some of those things I think were a little hard to hear. I think the interesting thing is I got an email from them saying that I would make a great school board candidate, which is great since I'm already on the board. Good to hear. So I think the thing is, I think some don't understand. Unfortunately, as much as we've tried to be good on our messaging and make sure they know, we've given raises in 8 of the last 9 years for teachers in the Newhall School District. We've set budget priorities that include raises for not just teachers, for all of our staff. And we've tried very hard to meet them because we recognize that our teachers are integral to our success. So I would hope anybody who knows me knows how much I'm backed by how much I back teachers. My mom was a teacher. My mother-in-law is a teacher. I have a sister who's a teacher. My grandfather is a professor. So unfortunately, they've turned to somebody who doesn't really know our district, as my opponent, and who doesn't understand about budget priorities and things that have made Newhall great. So I think some of that is a misunderstanding. I think there's a desire to, I can't really say because I was frankly disappointed that I didn't have their backing because when things like report cards became an issue or everything like that, I've stood up and made a statement about that, and again pushed for raises that we've given while still being budgetarily conservative to make sure that we did not lose teacher jobs.
Thank you very much for joining us. I've been speaking with Brian Walters, who is running for re-election with the Newhall School District. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. If you're interested in hearing more from our school board and water district candidates, you can tune in to KHTS FM 98.1 AM 1220 and hometownstation.com.